case you missed it, it's the top 5 sports talkers of the day. Now, it's time for Dan Barrero's Top 5 at 5. Brought to you by Gutter Helmet of Minnesota. Never clean your gutters again. Learn more at gutterhelmetmn.com.
I wanted to believe that PTI, the venerated program PTI, two former Inkstein wretches, two legends, was not capable of reducing itself to the silliness of, was it First Take in those shows?
Yes.
So one of the headline questions today, just moments ago, was bigger loss, Ant or Giannis? Why does it have to be put in those? It's one of those, nobody's debating that. That's not a good debate question. Just talk about the losses. Why do you have to turn everything into some debates, even I acknowledge, are not worth having? I mean, it's instead of, all right, well, I got a few things to say about one guy out of it. No, what's a bigger loss? Who cares? It doesn't advance the story. I was disappointed.
Who'd they say?
I had the sound turned down, unfortunately.
I thought you were going to say they opened by saying it was a great night for baseball, like off of because that would be a departure too.
That's true. Yeah, they don't.
Because they would not usually. Kornheiser for sure.
No, that's
Wilbon's got a little more romance to him, I think.
Yeah, I think. Well, I mean, I think Kornheiser can show it every once in a while, but it's okay. I guess the big breaking news on Giannis is the Bucks have said shut it down for the season.
They want to shut him down,
and Giannis says not going to work.
Yeah, they've got an interesting relationship.
They're very true. I still wouldn't rule out him ending up here next offseason. Just saying.
Did you see the new Wolves acquisition last night?
Which one?
Julius Randle.
Oh, yes.
He's back.
Off the waiver wire?
I guess.
Yeah.
He's back.
Yeah.
He played great. His kid's doing, on his head celebrations when he's dunking. I think his kid could be the key to this whole thing.
Maybe he is.
He plays really well.
He needs to be there.
I don't know how many games his kid makes it to in the courtside seats. I think it's a lot. But Julius Randle was great last night, and they needed him. Like, he has to be good, especially now with Anthony Edwards out 1 to 2 weeks. 32 points. Bones Highland was good. Every
Bones
time
Highland was very good.
Yeah, 22 points. Every time Dosunmu was good.
Point guard was good.
Every time I was looking up, especially late, because it was a close game.
Well, here's the kicker on this game again. Did you watch early?
No.
The first quarter and change was a disaster defensively.
Yes.
It was dunk after dunk, and the Wolves are putting it on the basis of the strategy. They were actually implementing the strategy defensively that the coaches had asked them to, but it was not working. So then the adjustment came, and then they looked better defensively from that point forward. This game early had all of the makings of we're going to lose, and we're going to give up 157 points to the Phoenix Suns. They were executing the crap out of us. But then we did change some things defensively, and I give them credit because it's a game you had to win. And when they took control of it, they took control of it. Now, I'm assuming that if somehow, some way we lose tonight against Utah,
right,
we will be reminded that they played last night. I'm fine with that as long as you also have reminded people that the Phoenix Suns played Monday night as well.
Yeah.
That never comes up.
Well,
it only comes up when we want to explain our performance being pear-shaped. It's never mentioned when the other team is in the exact same position.
I will take it a step further and say when you are playing the Utah Jazz, who have been fined for not trying to win.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
This could have been the old school Larry Bird 4th game in 5 nights, and you took 2 trains to get there, and you shouldn't lose this game. Like, you shouldn't lose this game. You can't lose this game. They won the game last night, so they're 3 games clear now.
That's a big win. I mean, it's important. They did they did exactly what they needed to do, and they got contributions from a lot of people.
Yes.
They were fairly no nonsense. They had, again, some turnovers early. They're always going to have turnovers, but they turned the game, made it a game where they looked like they were the better team.
And the energy defensively in the second half is kind of where I was going. Every time I looked up, one of the 2 guards was just careening down the floor into a finish or into a 3.
Yes.
I'm trying to figure out if I've ever hated anything or anyone as much as Jaden McDaniels appears to hate Devin Booker. Like, He played great, Jaden, defensively.
He did.
Like getting over the screens and getting in Booker's way.
He had to take like 28 shots, didn't he?
Yeah, and he had 34 points.
Yeah, but he was not efficient.
And as they were pulling away, Jaden was all over him. And so much so that and he throws the ball at him, Booker throws the ball back, Zach Zarba, good officiating, gets in the middle of it. I think they called unsportsmanlike or whatever, but that was fun to watch. Like it's infuriating because it's when they play like that, they are a whole lot of fun, and then they can just go the complete other direction.
Well, we'll find out tonight.
Like I said, they're 3 games clear now in the 6th spot of the Phoenix Suns, who have the 7th. It almost happened last night. You saw it, right?
Blackhawks?
What was the big Kevin Fallness build-up yesterday? Talking when you wanted us to preview
18-0-1.
Yeah, 18-0-1 against Chicago.
Foligno back home.
You going to bring that number up? Well, we did, and thankfully, the Wild figured out a way to get the victory. They win 4-3 in overtime. Zuccarello, 3:09 of the OT to get the victory. Hartman scored, JoJo scored, Tarasenko scored, and the Wild get a much-needed couple of points against a Chicago Blackhawks team that they've owned recently.
The Hawks scored in the final 2 minutes to tie it in regulation, and then you're back to, oh my God, we're going to end up with coming out of here with one point. So they do. They take care of what they had to take care of, and I wouldn't say they played great, but they got the 2 points, and so we'll kind of see where it goes. Well, where it goes from there is Blackhawks again, right here.
They come here tomorrow
night. Yeah,
we are out at 6:15 tomorrow night for that game. We'll keep it at hockey for a minute because it is kind of the news of the day. A day after Brad Frost was relieved of his duties as women's hockey coach at the U, the school announced that Bob Motzko, the men's coach, and the school, the university, have agreed to mutually part ways, or mutually agreed to part ways is the statement. Motzko was 64 years old, had been the coach for 8 seasons, 5 trips to the tournament, 2 Frozen Fours, 2023 national title game. Believe that was in Tampa Bay. And so he had 2 years remaining on his contract, but there will be both a new men's and women's hockey coach in Dinkytown.
I have to, I may be forced to check with some ink-stained wretches who are still ink-stained wretches. Mm-hmm. Why has it become difficult to say in a story in plain English, a coach was fired? I don't understand. Do we think it makes Brad Frost feel better?
Right.
When the headline reads, Gophers part ways with, he was fired. I mean, my guess is he would, I'm sure he's not enjoying this whole episode, but he'd rather it just be out there. But here's the lead. Brad Frost will not return as coach of the Gophers. Mark Coyle announced Tuesday, March 17. Why are you creating some indecision or even question? Well, what do you mean he won't return? What is it? I mean, I get it if you want to, if indeed it is a situation where at least in a public sense, it's mutually parting ways, like a la what seems to be presented on Motzko's case. Even that could be a wink-wink. But I think it's fair to present it the way that it's being presented, and then you make your own decisions about, you read between the lines about what happened. But this part ways thing, will not return as coach. He was dismissed. It happens. It's not illegal, and it doesn't make him lesser of a coach or a person after this many years when it kind of comes with the business. I just want some old-fashioned, journalism on this thing where we're not. If it's the University of Minnesota, maybe I get it, because universities always want to cushion the blow a little bit.
Soften it.
And so I don't know that they ever say was fired. I get that, but you're supposed to be the newspaper of record in a situation like this. It's just say it's nothing illegal. There's nothing that anybody has to explain, but it's the most direct way to understand precisely what the move was that was made. We're all big boys and girls here.
Colleges like to say change in leadership. That likes to be the headline.
Yes, that's true.
Thomas Moe athletic director Mark Coyle announced a change in hockey leadership, and Brad Frost is no longer the coach. Again,
for schools and pro franchises, I get that. I understand it more. But if we're in the newspaper business or online business or whatever the case may be, just say it. It's not that tough.
Vikings added Bills tackle Ryan Van DeMark to an offer sheet. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
He's going to be our new swing depth tackle.
You love the swing depth tackle.
You kidding me?
Swing tackle.
Well, you know we're going to need one.
Seriously.
I'm still not convinced our left tackle is okay. Christian Darrisaw, we'll see.
He wasn't all year.
He wasn't.
27-year-old played both left and right tackle last season. What do we call that? We call it the swing. Mostly on the right side, more than almost triple that he played on the left. So we got him. We got a new punter, too, a guy that PA once called Johnny Pecker. That got some play today on 9 to noon. It was an accident.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, it was very funny. Johnny Hecker is his name.
So
because we lost our guy to the Saints, if you recall.
We lost our guy. So do we know how much time, when will we know whether we get him? He's with the Bills, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Signed him to an offer sheet.
Yeah, an offer sheet.
So he's a restricted free agent,
okay,
which means they can match it.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
Does it say?
Is there? I assume there has to be a
deadline.
A deadline of some sort. I just don't happen to know it.
Yeah, I'm not a great league year mind. What else did I want to get to? So we talked about hockey. We talked about the Wolves. We talked about the Vikings. You won't care about this, but some people will. I like it.
Oh, by the way, let me go one other thing, because somebody's bringing up, technically Frost's contract ended with the end of this season.
Yeah.
So therefore,
semantics though.
But it's you're not fooling anybody. And I think people want to be, I just think people would prefer direct reporting rather than going. You can obviously include that in what you write and what you say, but it's a dismissal.
So we're about to straddle. So this will be like the Enough Said lightning round. This is a story made for TV here that Lori Fisher would like.
Okay.
Rory McIlroy, emotional, won the Masters a year ago, one of the great moments of 2025. He gets to pick the menu, for the champions dinner. Here's the appetizers: peach and ricotta flatbread,
jeez,
rock shrimp tempura,
ooh,
bacon wrapped dates with goat cheese and almonds, grilled elk sliders.
Grilled elk sliders, you say?
First course, because you got to have a first course. Yeah. I've never eaten at Augusta. Have you?
No, I have not.
Well, I've
never been to Augusta.
I've eaten the pimento cheese sandwiches that are $3. It's spectacular. Yellowfin tuna carpaccio.
Oh.
That is the first course. The main course, then, you get a choice, which is disappointing. It'd be nice if you could get both of them. Wagyu filet mignon or seared salmon. Which would you pick? The Wagyu filet mignon?
The salmon. I'm a salmon guy.
Seared salmon?
Yeah.
I think I'd have to try the steak.
Yeah.
You can get fish anywhere.
That's true.
Steak at Augusta.
How about surf and turf? How about a little of each?
That's what I said. Why do you have to pick? It's Augusta. What are we doing?
I don't understand.
You got to fill out a card like it's somebody's wedding?
We should not have to scrimp at all, should we?
They get Brussels sprouts in there. Underrated. Are you a Brussels sprouts guy? They've made a little bit of a comeback.
I'm not a Brussels sprouts guy.
I love them. Believe it or not, I like them. Glazed carrots with brown butter. And then some onion rings as well. Sticky toffee pudding with vanilla ice cream is the dessert for the Masters Club dinner on April 7th.
That sounds...
in Augusta.
That makes me kind of hungry, although I'm not a big Augusta guy. You are.
I've been once for one day, and
You've never forgotten.
I would do anything to go back.
263 guy. I love you. But he's explaining, or she, they say will not return as coach because there's a buyout and NDA involved. I'm not ripping the schools for their language and their word salad. I'm ripping the newspapers and the online entries, whatever the case may be. They don't have to play by those rules at all. It's not that. It happens every day. It's just, especially in the world of sports, it's just sort of part of the business. All right, so we got Kessler in about 15 minutes. Is that correct? Is that the plan?
He's here. He's ready whenever you are.
64686. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. We got a Dunaz to get to when we return. Regarding the offer sheet, Vikings got signed, I guess, by a current member of the Buffalo Bills, Vandemark, Ryan. 5 days. The Buffalo Bills had 5 days to match, so that would make it officially Monday, this coming Monday.
All right.
March 23 for the record. Meantime,
this is the end, my only friend, the end.
we got a lot going on in the world, as we know, in the Middle East especially. So you could say, well, this is an aside, and yet I'd say it's all of a piece. It's all interconnected and still worthy of the done as a society sounder. There is something at the United Nations called the Group of Friends in Defense of the UN Charter, X tells us. Members include China, Iran, and Venezuela. Venezuela just spoke for the group to praise North Korea for, quote, ensuring the full enjoyment of human rights of its people. I don't even know where you begin on something like this. I get it. It's a lot of this nonsense is performance, but even by performative standards, does that get applause? Does that get smiles of recognition and understanding? North Korea for ensuring the full enjoyment of human rights of its people. Did I see another one of those? They just had another one of those votes in North Korea.
They had an election, yeah.
And he got, was it 99.7 or 97 point? I got to be 99.7.
I thought it was 99.7 or 99.2, something like that.
Something in that range?
Yeah. Lavelle strikes again. Not unanimous.
What are we doing? In all seriousness. And this comes up at the UN every once in a while. And I know it all depends on whose ox is being gored. But even, I'll say again, by performative standards, you kind of ask yourself, what's the point? Although in this case, I'm not sure that there is. This update, can you hit the breaking news sounder?
Yes. Stand by. Take breaking news.
Here's a Strait of Hormuz update regarding the official U.S. position. Don't need help. We need help. Why aren't folks helping? Help's on the way. Not telling you who's helping. Help's not actually on the way, but we don't need it anyway. We may just abandon it and leave it to everyone else. That's over like 72 hours. I'm not making it up. That's how it's gone. Don't need help. Need help. Why aren't you helping? Help's coming. Not going to tell you who's helping. Help's not really on the way, but we don't really need it. We're the United States of America. And better yet, we might just say the hell with it. You can have your Strait of Hormuz. We don't need any of your stinking Strait of Hormuz. That's the current climate, unfortunately. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line is open at 64686. I had one other nugget related. I got a good one for, what's tomorrow? Are you with us Thursday? You're off Friday. Correct?
Yes, I'm here tomorrow. I'll be off on Friday.
I want to save it for Thursday. It's a good, juicy subject, but I want to get to it when we have a little bit more time. It's. I have to admit, I am not as absorbed by the world, the AI discussion as I probably should be. I mean, depending on who's speaking on it, it's the end of the world. It's got to pay attention to it, or it's going to get completely. We're gonna lose any control of AI if we don't do a better job on the front end. I don't know that I completely understand what it covers and what it doesn't. Maybe that's part of it for me. I'm
with you.
I don't know where I am on any of that. But there is an AI-related controversy that humanizes it in a way that I think we could have some enjoyment discussing on tomorrow's broadcast. Yesterday was officially St. Paddy's Day, correct?
It was. Yes.
Tuesday.
Yes.
Because today's Wednesday. I retweeted, it's an old bit of video. I don't know if you saw it, or maybe you had seen it previously because it is St. Patty's Day related. And 1993, in Chicago, the St. Patrick's Day Parade historically has been massive. I don't know if it's still as big as it once was, but it once upon a time was massive, especially in the day of Mayor Richard J. Daley. And in this case, 1993, the parade's going on. And you've got reporters for various TV stations in Chicago on the street covering it, including WGN TV, which at that point this was the local version. Now there's like a national cable version of it.
Superstation.
Superstation.
Yeah.
But this was WGN, the local version covering the parade. And one of their big shot reporters is in the middle of the parade, in the street. And who comes walking by or kind of almost trotting by but Tommy Lee Jones.
Oh, yeah, I did see this.
Filming, in this case, the motion picture, a very successful motion picture, The Fugitive.
Great movie.
Terrific film. Giovanni watched it for the first time about 3 months ago and loved it. Absolutely.
How can you not?
How can you not?
Yeah.
But it's an example. She's branching out in terms of the kinds of movies that will keep her interest, and that one she really liked. In any case, so the reporter, and I know him, I can see him because I spent so much time in that city with family and so forth, but the name will come to me in a minute. He stops Tommy Lee because, out of nowhere and just says, hey, I've heard a story. Somebody else that somebody was here filming a movie. Are you filming a movie here right now? And he said, what's the name of the movie? And Tommy Jones, it's called The Fugitive, and it stars Harrison Ford. It'll be coming out whenever. And he talks about how, in this case, they'd seen a chase. The WGN reporter had seen a chase, and he had been told, and Tommy Lee Jones kind of interrupts and says, this would be, fictitious police chasing after fictitious bad guys. That's a big part of the motion picture Fugitive. And it's all happening live in real time on the street. It was terrific.
You just got to piggyback off the parade.
Yeah. And if you've seen the movie, there is a big parade scene in it.
I saw that, and now I definitely wanted to watch it.
Yes.
I'm such a rube for The Fugitive. The Big Time Media Days was at the Hilton Chicago on Michigan Avenue for many years. Right. And that's where that hotel is historic, as you know. Presidents and troops and all kinds of people have stayed there.
Yes.
But that's the ballroom scene. Spoiler alert.
The climax to the film.
You switch the samples, and when he comes in. And so I'm like standing in that ballroom and like Jerry Kills over there, and I'm imagining Harrison Ford. Just totally different.
Hard not to.
But I went up to all the ballrooms. I'm like, was this the ballroom? Was this where he went up there? Did you switch the samples? Is that the one? It's too good.
It is good. It's very, very good. And that was, and obviously that's yesterday was the day to bring up that anecdote for sure, which I did retweet. All right, we got Kessler coming up. Questions for him, and some of them have already come in. Bradshaw and Brian KFAN text line at 64686. He will attempt to define the difference between a kickback and fraud. That's a big topic of local conversation. I've got some national stuff to discuss with him, and then we've got he may need to give us some help regarding a component of the betting industry that I'm just beginning to learn about, and that seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger by the day. Stay tuned.
I wish the American media would take a great look at the views of the people in Congress and find out, are they pro-America or anti-America?
Pat Kessler.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab.
Pat Kessler.
Tear down this wall.
I did nothing wrong at the Minneapolis airport.
Senator, you're no Jack Kennedy.
Pat Kessler. And now, to help Dan break down all the tough questions in politics, it's our own Pat Kessler, Political Wonk.
I feel like a supermodel, except like times 10.
It's Channel 4's Pat Kessler with Dan Barrero on The Fan.
Why can't I hear the sounders? Not working?
We know it's not good baseball.
Oh, there it is.
How about if I
The music was just too loud.
I'll just
PJ
whistle.
Fleck has
Why did I have PJ Fleck there?
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. What's that from? What's that? Barrera with PJ Fleck. When did I have him on?
Oh, that's probably from, I don't know why that's there. I think Brett might have put that there somehow. That's, I think, either when we had him at the Super Bowl, 8 years ago, or when he joined.
The only time you've ever spoken to him.
Yeah,
we also had him on as part of the Thielen Foundation radiothon we did during the pandemic. He was one of our guests.
Kessler, do you believe that, speaking of PJ Fleck, do you think he fears the smiling assassin?
I would say be cautious, but not afraid. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
I would say nobody's untouchable. Nobody's irreplaceable.
Right.
But if there is somebody, it's probably him.
I know he's your favorite AD. All he does is get rid of people.
Well, how about that? I
mean I'm just saying,
that knife goes in so smoothly, it almost feels good.
That's the smiling part, the smiling assassin.
It almost feels good.
That's it.
Yeah.
Velvet glove.
That's it.
Is what he uses.
So, I've never seen him without a smile, and in my frequent discussions with him.
I was just going to say, drop the names. Athletic director tailgate.
How fast does he run in the other direction when he sees you coming?
No. It's he's very, very gracious. I will say there's a vacant stare over my shoulder
when he sees you coming.
No. When I capture him and make We're
talking about Mark Coyle. For those just joining the show, I've sort of given him a nickname he probably doesn't necessarily appreciate.
I would,
because he's been firing people. And although today is viewed, what do your hockey sources say? Motzko is claiming that it was mutual, and the university says it was mutual. Sometimes you covered enough dismissals to know that sometimes it can be mutual, but sometimes that's just a more graceful way to put a spin on it so everybody feels a little bit better about a kind of an unseemly situation.
And that's okay. That is really okay.
It is.
I don't think anything is mutual when you're at that high level, and a change needed to be made, if I may speak in the passive voice.
Yes.
They needed to make a change there, and I think he did what he had to do. So for all of the talk we've had over the years about different athletic directors,
you always were a big Tommy Moe guy, weren't you?
Joel Maturi.
Oh, Mother Maturi?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they didn't name the position after Maturi. They named it after Moe.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that the new name you said? And Gaardsy, when did that get established?
I've never heard that before.
That was established within the couple of days after Mr. Moe died. A couple of weeks ago. I think his family had an endowed naming.
Okay.
He had a gift, I think, to the school, and that was the deal.
So now I can't say anything about that. Rest in peace.
Yeah, be very
God
careful.
Bless him. Absolutely.
Athletic director he had to pay for, the Maturi Pavilion, that was just given. Well, it's true.
That is true.
Now,
Why does he have to pay for that?
He had a lot to do with volleyball being good. I mean, that was his deal. It makes sense, but that's the difference.
Yeah, okay.
That's why.
Just saying.
Well, I mean, so for all of the talk we've had about the different athletic directors, I got to say, Coyle, when it's time to pull the trigger, he does. He does it. And, you got to keep bringing people in. And one of these times we're going to click. I think Nico's going to be awesome. I do. I think Nico's going to be great. And of course, PJ is only getting better by the year. I wanted to make sure you were paying attention.
You can't say that.
Wanted to make sure you were paying attention.
Were you around for the Paul Giel era? Were you already in TV when Paul Giel was the AD?
Well, I think
when I first got here, wasn't Paul Giel the AD in the mid '80s? When
Sounds
I got
right.
here? I think, yeah.
Well, I remember that.
Yeah,
but I was in Murray Warmouth area.
That's going even further back. Yeah.
So Paul Giel was
legendary.
Was
a big Sid guy,
correct?
If I recall. Yeah.
Everybody was a Sid guy.
Yeah, that's true. Quite a few
at the
people.
U for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
At the U.
So I never, ever, ever want to wish people to lose their jobs.
No,
ever.
no one does.
But sometimes somebody's got to make a call, and Coyle did it, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Why can't I find your stuff? Hold on, let me find it. What's the date today?
Today is 18.
March 18th.
I got 311. Why can't I find your 318? I thought I arched it.
Want me to forward it to you?
Well, it's okay. I mean, because you got the list in front of you, so you can lead the way.
Do I?
Well, maybe you don't. But I do want to lead with
Good
the
stuff, though.
understanding of why What is the legal distinction between a kickback and an example of fraud? This has become the latest point of debate, I guess, regarding the latest scandal. This is DHS related, correct? Our DHS.
It is. More fraud.
Not Department of Homeland Security.
More fraud.
Yes. And this is autism related, correct?
This is the autism program. Which, people, I guess, didn't notice that in 2018, when they set up the autism program, the Department of Human Services to help children with autism and their families, it cost $3 million. And 7 years later,
it's like $4 billion.
$400 million. It's $400 million. Well, here's the backdrop for all of this, people. There's a new watchdog report which says that the Department of Human Services in Minnesota didn't realize that they would be able to, even though they had allegations of kickbacks, they didn't realize that they would be able to take legal action against them. Are you kidding? What's the emoji for banging your head against the wall? That's what goes here. So they could not investigate, they said, which the watchdog group says, no, that's wrong. Also, that they could not suspend payments if there were kickback allegations. Now, this didn't go back just to 2018. This has been going back for years. They got the legal interpretations wrong, so they haven't been paying attention to fraud. So what is the difference? Fraud versus kickback.
Well, I'm trying to scroll down to the specific place here that I'm confused by. Here's what the Star Tribune story says about the kickback scheme. Mm-hmm. In a case brought by federal prosecutors, parents received illegal kickbacks as a part of a fraud scheme run by illicit health care businesses enrolled in the state's autism program. Owners of 2 autism centers, Smart Therapy in Minneapolis and Star Autism in St. Cloud, really clever names, allegedly paid off parents of children approved for autism care to keep kids enrolled and overbill the state. Some receive between $300 and $1,500 per month.
That's a lot of money.
Per month per child.
A lot of money.
According to prosecutors. So I read that example and I say, that to me defines fraud. That's a form of fraud. It's a specific form of fraud. But how is that somehow? No, that's just a kickback. That's just a kickback.
A kickback is taking a bribe, and that's what they are doing.
Yes.
Taking a bribe, $500 to $1,000.
You play ball with us, and we'll get you the money, and you tell everybody that we're
Meanwhile, we are going to overbill for the services that we're providing you. So fraud is stealing. They're committing fraud, stealing directly from the state of Minnesota. But the other people it's a kickback because they're taking a bribe to allow the fraud to continue. So, when you order a pepperoni pizza, I know you did this when you were at
Indiana University.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Unlike Larry Joe Bird, I wasn't intimidated by the size of it. I went. And despite the fact that I was bullied, we all were bullied the first year at Wilkie Quad, but I
was
stood
bullied
tall.
my whole life. Come on.
You're still being bullied.
By you.
Didn't Don Shelby used to bully you at Channel 4? That's what I thought.
The story someday will be told. Your buddies would sell you a pizza.
Yes.
And charge you for a breadstick.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
That's
the bit. You're right.
There it is.
There it is.
And then that's the fraud. But
in Chicago, that's called commerce. That's just doing business. That's the price of doing business.
Yeah, and so a kickback would be, hey, give me $10 and I'll make sure your pizza is delivered free. So that is going on still in the state of Minnesota. And the watchdog report from the Office of Legislative Auditor is shocking again.
Is this ever going to end?
It will. I have a feeling, and I've told you this for a long time. I was doing stories on fraud in Minnesota, the human services programs 10, 15 years ago, and nobody paid attention. And I will say,
you feel a little neglected and a little like
vindicated, Dan.
Vindicated,
Dan.
Yeah.
No one would pay attention to it, and I will say that the Democrats were not as interested in looking into this stuff, particularly if there were a Democratic governor. So this has been going on a long time. I think the only way, and Governor Walz is doing the right thing right now, trying to figure out new ways to slow it down and stop it. I really think they're going to have to do two things. They're going to have to use AI, artificial intelligence, because they might be able to ferret this stuff out. And number two, you've got to update the computers and the computer systems in the state of Minnesota.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up, but back in the day when these computer systems went in the 70s and 80s, they have not really updated them. And the people who maintained them have now retired 30 years later, and there's nobody to fix computers. I don't know how they're going to fix it, but they're going to have to move on it quick.
Alan in Afton, will you please ask Special K, who seems to says sometimes their heads have to roll, and praising the current AD.
He's a great athletic director.
Being a great athletic director for doing what he has to do. Why hasn't anyone been dismissed in this administration over the fraud? You hear this constantly. Didn't somebody need to go somewhere along the food chain, in the food chain?
Two things about that. The answer to the question is...
That's from Alan in Afton, if you want to speak directly to him.
100% right, and I think people should have been fired. What happens in politics, and I think what has happened in the Walz administration for the last 8 years, is that people quietly resign. They're told to leave, and by mutual agreement, they leave. There is no dramatic, you're fired. There isn't any of that. And I think perhaps to regain confidence for the state of Minnesota, I think maybe somebody should be fired. I think there are questions about education commissioners, why suddenly they're gone, human services.
It's it doesn't seem to be very transparent.
It's absolutely not.
Which you have tended to believe in.
100%.
Covering this stuff, transparency.
Yeah, I do. I think that if you're going to fire somebody, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. But if you're going to fire somebody, you're going to have to do it. But the former legislative auditor watchdog group, Jim Noble, says that he was told directly,
yeah, that's true,
by top Democrats, including,
leave it alone.
God bless her, rest in peace, Melissa Hortman. He says that she told them they weren't going to go further with it. So this is what's happening.
Dan Minnesota asks, was Kessie around when A.D. Marsh Ryman and John Mariucci mutually agreed to part ways?
Well, Mariucci was playing hockey. He was playing when I was there.
That's true.
That's a good one.
That's a very good point. That's very
a
well.
good one.
I thought that was well played.
Yeah, that is.
All right, let's get to
so yeah, this fraud stuff, we should just have a sounder for that.
We should have a fraud sounder. We were going to have a T-shirt, but we didn't for the fair. Maybe we will. By the way, it still might be current this coming year. Or did we? Did we have a fraud T-shirt?
The 10,000 fraud?
We thought about it.
We thought about it. We didn't do it.
We think about such great stuff.
We were under pressure to not use that by the Walz administration.
Yeah, because
we bowed to it.
You take your orders.
We bowed to it.
That's what I hear.
We curled up.
I get the same emails.
Yeah, well, I'm Dan Tifa.
Yeah,
what do you expect? It's like,
Yeah.
And your comrade Kessler.
I got my script.
You got your script
right here. Yeah.
Speaking of scripts, is this name real, by the way? Is the name Mark Wayne Mullen a real name? Mark Wayne Mullen. Is it a real name, and who is it?
So, yes, it's a real name, and Mark Wayne is one word.
It's one word, right?
Capital M, M-A-R-K, small w, A-Y-N-E. Mark Wayne Mullen. I don't know the
etymology
of that word.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I mean, is that a common term a common name in the South?
I don't know.
People naming their kids?
Is he from the South?
He's from Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
And so Mark Wayne Mullen. I thought there was going to be a fight.
It got ugly today?
Fireworks? Ugly.
This morning?
Yes.
Okay.
He was going to get in a fight.
And what's the occasion? What was the occasion?
Mark Wayne Mullen is the guy who is nominated to replace Kristi Noem. Kristi Noem, who sent all the ICE agents to occupy Minneapolis, resulting in chaos, violence, and death here in Minneapolis.
In that order.
Absolutely.
$2 million, and also spent, was it $2.2 million on that ad campaign?
I would call it $220 million.
Did I say 2.2?
$220 million.
That's
well, here's the deal.
She was riding a horse in the commercial, wasn't she?
She looked great. The costume with the horse and the spur.
Yeah, exactly. Come on.
No, that's the point I'm going to make is that Mark Wayne Mullen didn't wear a costume coming to the hearing today for the.
He's supposed to replace her.
for the Secretary of Homeland Security, and he had his confirmation hearing today. And it was very, very interesting because the fireworks begin almost immediately because fellow Republican Rand Paul, who many of our longtime listeners will remember, got the hell beat out of him about 6-7 years ago.
Oh, that neighbor fight. Yeah.
By a neighbor. Yeah. Just kicked the you-know-what.
Well, he's a little guy.
And
he's not much taller than Kyler Murray, I don't think.
I'm just
saying.
Culkin.
Yeah, anyway.
Snuck up behind him, broke 6 ribs, gave him a concussion. I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
And Mark Wayne Mullen said, you know what? I don't condone it, but I understand it.
That's what he said?
He's a snake, and he refused to apologize for it. And these are fellow Republicans. So that
happened this morning?
That's what he said at the time. And then today they asked him about it again, and he said it again. He said, will you apologize? Will you apologize? Well, I'm not going to apologize, but I do understand it. It was crazy.
He did apologize for what he said about Alex Preddy, correct?
Just stop short. However, that was, I think, very significant because if there's going to be a difference between the chaos of Minneapolis and ICE and Kristi Noem, they asked him about his comments because what he said about Alex Preddy after he was killed by ICE agents here, shot 6 times in the back. Here's what Mullen said. He said, unfortunately, he calls Preddy a deranged individual who came in to cause max damage with a loaded pistol that was completely loaded, was shot and killed. How much more does this have to go on before Democrats take responsibility? Blaming Democrats, blaming Preddy. It was a terrible, terrible day for everybody, most of all the Preddy family. So today Mullen says he regrets and retracts those comments, but he did not apologize. They asked him if he would apologize, and he said no. He said he's going to wait for the investigation to be completed. Now, frankly, I'm not confident in any investigation. I'm not even sure there's an investigation going on into Preddy's you could validly call it a murder by ICE agents. So, so there was that. He did come in not as hot as Kristi Noem, where, she was all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I remember it well.
He was warm and fuzzy and was somebody saying he's going to look at a lot of the stuff. They want ICE agents, the Democrats in particular, don't wear masks. Don't lead with your guns. Don't beat the hell out of people. Don't run into their houses if you don't have a warrant to do it. So all of this is what he said he's going to.
He agreed to all those things?
No, he's going to take a look at it.
He'll take it under advisement.
He lowered the temperature. The only thing,
sort of like in Tom Homan-like fashion.
Very much so. Yeah. Very much so. So he is kind of an over-the-top MMI. Crazy-ass Oklahoman, but he did really lower the temperature today, I think. But you can't be sure until we see exactly what he decides he's going to do.
Will he get approved? That
is an excellent question because Rand Paul, the dude with the 6 broken ribs, he's not going to vote for him.
No.
He's the chairman of the committee. But, so they need a Democratic vote. Who is on the committee that might vote for him? A Democrat. Your guy, John Fetterman.
Fetterman's on that, yeah.
Pennsylvania.
Fetterman, yeah.
So why John Fetterman doesn't become a Republican after this? I mean, if they approve this guy, I don't know. So Rand Paul still has a couple of tricks up his sleeve. He may try to hold the nomination, not let anybody vote on it. But I think people are so still afraid of Donald Trump, afraid of incurring his wrath, of crossing him, that I do think he'll be confirmed eventually.
This was all this was this morning.
Yeah, it was awesome.
CNN cover it?
Yeah, a lot of people were
C-SPAN?
covering.
Do you ever watch C-SPAN anymore?
All the time.
You do?
I'm a big C-SPAN.
You do not.
I do. I absolutely do.
Don't try to fool people.
So all of the hearings with our guy, Tim Walz and Keith Ellison, you got to watch.
Yeah.
I'm a big C-SPAN guy.
Okay.
Is
Brian Lamb still alive? The guy who
he is still alive, but
got it going?
He is now left. He's emeritus now.
Okay. He's a emeritus guy.
But one of the things that's kind of fun,
I always liked him.
Have a few shots, during the day of whiskey, and then you watch the call-in shows. They on C-SPAN they will have a Democrat, they'll have a Republican, and wait to see who gets through.
Didn't they? In the old days, they literally had a different phone number.
They did,
right?
They did.
When you were a Republican or a Democrat, and independents. I don't know if independents had their own phone number or not. And then the Whig Party had their own number too.
So everybody, so you watch C-SPAN, but then you have the Tulsi Gabbard and Kash Patel hearing today too, where did you tell President Trump that the Iran would fight back if we attacked them? That kind of thing. I will not discuss what I've said to the president.
John Bolton, Wall Street Journal today. Mm-hmm. If the president was not fully resolved to remove the Ayatollahs, he should never have initiated so ambitious a military effort. Strikes on military targets alone will not topple the regime. Instead, they must debilitate the institutions of state power, notably the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Basij militia. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to pronounce that. B-A-S-I-J.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's according to Bolton. Now, Bolton is no friend of the Iran run.
Well, he supports the military action in the Middle East, absolutely.
Is that the issue here? If you're going to do it, if the objective is really to remove the Ayatollahs, can you do it?
Regime change.
Yeah, using the route that we're using here. Probably not, correct?
It's very, very difficult, maybe too late. It is becoming increasingly clear that President Trump did not anticipate the unintended consequences. When you kick a hornet's nest, it's the hornets who decide when it's over.
Right.
And that's what's happening here. Trump started a war, but there are three other countries that will decide how the war ends. It's not the United States, it's Iran, and it's Israel. So you're going to have to figure out, probably a negotiated settlement, figure out all of this kind of stuff. President Trump is still bellicose and belligerent and threatening mass destruction of everybody, but you're not going to be able to change the Iranian culture and society unless you remove this group that's there, put in a new group that is at least neutral to the United States, and begin again. And they don't seem to be right now, our country, in any mood to do that.
All right, let's make it the top of the hour break. Got a couple other things to get into with Kessler. Keep the text coming as well. We're out at 6:30 tonight, not 6:15, and then tomorrow 6:15, leading into more Minnesota Wild hockey right here on the Fan.
This is the greatest honor of my life, to be able to report to people in Minnesota.
Just stop it.
My people, what's happening in their state. What kind of legacy do I leave?
What are you doing?
I just did the best job.
Is there just...
We were just talking about TV insincerity, and that's one of my favorites, so I thought I'd bump back with it.
Why are you thinking that I was insincere?
TV,
what kind of legacy do I leave?
The business
I just did the best job I could. Well, Gaardsy, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What kind of legacy will you leave?
I just tried to do the best job I could.
In another 59 years, when he has 60 straight years as the voice of the high school girls basketball.
You guys almost nailed it, both of you. Between the two of you, you really
2 seasons
really locked in. Two Hall of Famers right there.
But wasn't he great?
He was outstanding.
Just really great.
These are back-to-back texts that have come in.
Okay.
Thank you as always for having Kessler on. Informative, real, whether one agrees or not. We need that in this world we're in. That's right after just more dumbcrat talk from moron Kessler. Not dumbocrat, but dumbcrat. He made up his own term.
Who's that from?
763 is 612.
Okay,
763 guy ripped you.
Okay, 763
guy praised you.
I want to edit that. I think dumbcrat is really, you can do much better than that.
Yeah, it's not very well done.
No, I think dumbocrat.
Dumbocrat is the thing. That's what Mr. Fun used to use.
That's much better.
I have another item that's not on your list.
Great.
Well, no, but it's better this way.
Oh, I see.
we've talked a lot about gambling. Oh, by the way, I think Wisconsin, a bill just passed one of their chambers for online sports betting. I don't know if it needs to, like, if there's still a couple of steps yet, but I read that this morning, or I heard it somewhere, and it sounds like the FanDuels of the world are out of it. These are, I think, where you're doing betting related to tribal casinos, I think. So I don't know all the details.
Yeah,
we still don't have it here, right? It's still not on the front burner here, right?
We do not, and I will say I don't know the chances this year, but it's probably 50-50 again because of just the
at best,
the closeness, how close this legislature is. But I think nationally, the tide may be turning a little bit against states doing this.
Well, that's an interesting point, and the other, here's where I thought you were going, that it may become moot what happens in other states because of something called, and this is where I need help, the prediction markets. Kalshi.
Yes, sir.
Polymarket. What the hell are they? How do they distinguish? How do they differentiate it from what we're used to when we talk about sports betting? Is this the stuff where you can bet on the date a war is going to start? Or who's going to die?
You can bet
all that kind of stuff.
You can bet on almost everything.
And by the way, I think you can do that right now in Minnesota. I don't think so. That's why I'm also confused. Why is that something we can do here without any kind of legislation? Where in the sports betting we can't?
Because it's like trading stock.
Okay,
that's what this is. So you can trade on stock, yes or no, on the outcomes of real world events. And there's a big problem coming, I think, with it. I do believe that these prediction markets are generally pretty accurate. They are very accurate about what's going to happen. When we see polling, for example, in politics, that so-and-so is going to win, so-and-so is going to lose. They predicted
Trump was going to win in 2024.
So
early.
So you can predict this, but you can also predict will not just the winner of the World Baseball Classic, but you could predict when the United States will go to war with Iran. You can bet on stuff like that. And they're generally accurate. What I see coming on the horizon, which may be very, very problematic, is that there's no real way to prevent insider trading, is my understanding. So that if you know one of the things that's happening with Mark Wayne Mullen, who we just talked about, the nominated Secretary for Department of Homeland Security, one of the things they're going after him about is that he was making stock trades based on inside information. So you got that going. And with Kalshi, are there members of the Trump administration who know in advance that President Trump is going to slap a 100% tariff on Switzerland because he's pissed off at the president?
Or invade Cuba.
There it is again, right there. So that, I think, is very active. I think they're extremely accurate, and I find them fascinating.
Prediction markets. Proponents say these markets are different from traditional gambling because they double as valuable sources of information that can help governments, businesses, and ordinary citizens make smart decisions. On the other hand, critics counter that platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket are just another way to bilk gambling-addicted Americans, and that they are rife with, to use your term, insider trading. The day before the U.S. went to war with Iran, more than 150 accounts placed a total of $855,000 in bets, correctly predicting an American strike over the next 24 hours. There's a guy named Logan Sudduth, 25 years old, claims he quit his job as a financial risk analyst to become a full-time gambler on Kalshi and Polymarket. He tells NPR that he made $100,000 in 1 month, $25,000 more than he used to make in a year. A bet on Time Magazine's Person of the Year alone earned him $40,236.
That's really amazing. And I'm not saying these are bad. I think they're very, very, very interesting. You can buy these contracts, is what we understand. The Federal Reserve Board today decided not to change the rates. There were a lot of people betting on that.
Yeah.
How much are you going to bet? You can bet from a penny to $1 or something like that. You can bet on the weather. You can bet on elections, and you can bet, unfortunately, on when you're going to war. If somebody inside...
When somebody's going to die, right?
When somebody's going to die. If somebody inside the Trump administration is doing this, do we know that? Do we know the people who are suddenly 12 hours before something happens, you've got literally hundreds of thousands of dollars being bet on an event, and we don't know who it is. And so I think it's kind of something we really need to watch.
Yeah, I'm just beginning to read about it, and it's fascinating because it's a whole. And as I understand it, in fact, this piece, how are they regulated? Lightly is their response. Prediction markets are overseen by the Federal Commodity Futures Trading Commission.
What is that?
And the Trump administration has taken a soft touch with the industry. This may have something to do with that. President Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr., has invested in Polymarket through his venture capital firm and is an advisor to Kalshi. Isn't that special?
So how much did the Trump son make on this stuff?
Yeah, probably a couple of billion.
Trump is not going to be president forever.
You sure?
Well, I'm not sure. Now that I said that, Mark Wayne Mullen could send ICE agents to every polling place in America, and we'll find out what happens. He's not going to be president forever, we believe. So how is this all going to unravel if there is fraud, bribery, things going on? I don't know. I'm not going to say bribery.
Right.
I'm just going to say corruption. I shouldn't have said bribery. But corruption if they are making money off their father's name, as your guy Hunter Biden did off his, and they had congressional hearings.
Several states have sued or sent cease and desist letters to prediction markets over sports gambling, which is banned in 20 states, and where it is allowed is typically legal only for over 21. States say that markets are skirting those rules as well as the tax obligations of sport books. So that's going to be a whole other chapter to follow as it seemingly gets bigger and bigger. Is this,
and it will,
and how well will it be regulated? And is that how people like in the state of Minnesota get around it?
Mm-hmm.
So my prediction is we are never going to have sports gambling here.
You can bet on that on Call Sheet.
Yeah, you probably can. I wonder what the odds are.
You absolutely can.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think the tide is turning. I'm never going to say never, but it's the odds are against it. If I may, I like that.
You liked that one, didn't you? You really liked that one.
I smiled at myself.
Will you be going to Golden Gopher women's basketball tournament action Friday night at the barn? It's a great opportunity for you. Got nothing else to do.
I've got.
It's a 5 o'clock start, right?
I'm busier now than when I was working.
That's what you keep saying.
I really would. I would love to.
So you're not going?
I'll be. I really want to say I am.
You'll be where?
He can't even figure it out.
No, I know.
He can't even come up with an excuse.
I know where I'm going to be. I know where I'm going to be.
Out of town?
I am.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
And I don't want to.
How are the keys?
And I don't want to lie about it. You know?
How are the Florida Keys?
I liked them a lot.
I've never been. Did you? Was that your first trip?
Love them.
Oh, okay.
But I liked it a lot.
Okay,
it was great.
Too
it was
muggy?
awesome. No.
Too crowded?
I thought it was too touristy, although, all of the college kids were pouring in when I was there. But the Ernest Hemingway house and his story, and I walked his steps from bar to bar to bar. It was freaking awesome. So there's a lot to like with my dolphin watching. And
you probably prefer a little more privacy. You're saying it was maybe a little too touristy for you?
No, not at all. But I
says the tourist that it was too touristy while you were there.
No, I'm just talking. I was young once and strong. Gaardsy,
you're still strong.
I am. What I'm saying is that I used to roll with spring break. I used to do all that. But I loved Key West. We did dolphin watching. We went to all the best restaurants. It was awesome.
It was good.
It was very nice.
I'm glad. And Friday, you won't be able to go into the Gopher game because you'll be out of town again.
I will. All I do is travel.
Well, that's what I was going to say. So you're not that busy. You're busier, but with things that have nothing to do with work is what I'm trying to say.
I'll make you a deal.
Okay.
I'll sit next to you. You go to the game, and I'll be right next to you.
I can't. I'm on the air. Doing a show.
You guys can both go Sunday if they win.
I actually might want to try to get Giovanzi to go Sunday if they win.
They are going to win.
Well, they're heavily favored.
Yeah.
But
tickets are $26.
You know what, though? It's a trap game.
Incredible.
Trap game.
That is.
Be careful.
We don't like that.
Oh, yeah. That's where we get cocky, and then before you know it, we're sitting there, drowning in our tears.
I'm just going to stay home and listen to Gaardsy. He's so good at this. He's so good at the play-by-play.
How long until he gets a statue, do you think?
Just the TV insincerity and full. It's amazing how natural it is.
Can I say something that's real and natural?
We'd love it. It'd be a first.
And I feel that way about you. I care about you, and I think you're great.
I love you too, Pat.
Last item from Nate, who says, I'm an avid Kalshi user. I use it primarily for sports, but dabble in other areas. I made about $4,000 on Kyler to the Vikings.
That's incredible.
Feels like it's full of potential for fraud, but I have decided to accept the risk. That's very honest on the part of Nate.
Well, that is amazing.
Enjoy the money.
So that's a sports bet.
So but it's a sports
legal.
bet, but it's not.
Yeah, well,
it's
right.
It's
right.
a bet
prediction
on
bet.
an event.
An event. You're right.
And Nate is smart enough to say, you know what? I'm gonna put some money down on this.
651 guy. Key West is garbage. Largo and Marathon are magnificent.
Thank you. I'm going to go there next.
That's just his opinion.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for seeing. We'll see you again maybe in a week or two.
Yeah. When I get
between
back,
trips.
When I get back. Yes, sir. I have to come back during the week.
Will you bring back some puka shells for you next time?
I will.
Before us? Yeah.
I will.
Big puka shell guy.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
You are.
Kessler, 5, 6, and 10 on Channel 4. We'll wrap it up next.
Show Wrap is presented by American Pressure, commercial-grade pressure washer since 1975.
It's the Bumper to Bumper Show Wrap.
What do we got tonight on the Fan? Well, we have, as usual, Fan on Demand. And then on the flagship, we've got Wolves hoop action. Second night of the back-to-backer. Tonight, it's the Utah Jazz. And tonight, we're not only without Anthony Edwards, we're also without Naz Reid. They're both out for this game. Utah, we assume, is still trying to lose, although occasionally they win anyway.
20-48, I think I saw.
So we'll see how it goes tonight. I mean, the beauty of winning last night, which was a good win given the circumstances and given Edwards was out, is, well, I'm phrasing this wrong. The devastation that would come with after having won last night would be if we blow it by turning around and losing to Utah, right? That would kind of, I guess it doesn't totally nullify it because it's against Phoenix,
but
and
just
you created some distance. But the idea is you won the tougher of the two, fair and square. After a bad start, you regrouped nicely, you played better, you had good balance on offense, even though obviously Julius Randle was instrumental offensively. You had other players step up and score. The ball, I think, did move pretty well. And then defensively, you finally came around a little bit as well. So you create the space between you and Phoenix, right? Between 6 and 7. That's important. Now go ahead and realize the full potential of opening that door by not spitting up the bit this evening against Utah, even though now you're down 2 players. My assumption is Utah's always down 6 players.
Right. And
they don't want to play anybody.
Like you said, like you've talked about, the schedule gets a little trickier at times.
Yeah.
And every game, you don't have to just stay in the 6th spot. You were in the 3 spot a week and a half ago. You can move up because there are other teams kind of meandering as well. Yeah. So be aggressive.
Tomorrow is a Thursday, so that means Dr. Dan's inbox will be reopened, and we expect a visit with Russo Radio. We'll have to, I think, explore again with him, or maybe even before he joins. Your guy, is it Gary Bettman, the NHL commissioner? Doubling and tripling down on the current playoff format. And it's just stupid. I can't wait to talk about his logic, which makes no sense to me whatsoever. But he's probably getting defensive about all the criticism. He's turning it into a thing about, well, you're just talking about one division this year. It changes year to year. And he's missing the overall that has nothing to do with this particular division that the Wild are in this year. So we'll explore that in a little bit more depth on tomorrow's broadcast and get to many other good things. Keith O'Brien, great writer of a new Larry Bird book. He joined at 3:30. Kevin Kernan on international baseball.
He was hot.
World Baseball Classic, and he was on FAR. And, of course, Pat Kessler, Comrade Kessler at 5:30. All podcastable, downloadable later. If you missed it the first time around, we will talk to you at 3 o'clock.
A lot of things that are easily correctable